Alright, my mom and I. How did I end up here? In the year 1970, British scientist John Thornton Conway invented an experiment he called Game of Life. You play the game on a two-dimensional grid where each cell is either alive or dead. The rules are as follows. If the cell is surrounded by 3 living cells, it continues to live. If cell is surrounded by more than 3 cells, it dies. This simulates overpopulation. If it's surrounded by less than 3 living cells, it dies. This simulates dying off due to loss of population. If that cell is surrounded by 3 living cells, it comes back to life. This stimulates reproduction. We play the game by randomly filling in fields and observing what's happening. What makes this game interesting is that after a certain time and number of generations, some shapes start to form, and they resemble organized life forms. We have shapes such as gliders, pulsars, and even spaceships. No one designed them, they showed up as a consequence of the rules of this game. But in 2010, in one of these games, after 34 millions of generations, they detected a new shape. The shape that procreates by killing its parent. Evolution. But what if I just showed you these shapes and told you nothing about how they came about? Wouldn't you be convinced that someone just designed them? That's the thing with Conway's Game of Life. It shows us that complex and organized forms can arise on their own from total chaos and randomness. But rules of this universe are just 4 rules, and as such, shapes that can be derived from them are very simple. Rules of our universe are more complex and allow creation of much more complex forms, like, for example, humans. So we understand evolution in principle, but something in us opposes the idea that something as complex as human being could arise on its own from chaos. The problem is in our inability to understand big numbers, to visualize them. This is why many people, despite irrefutable evidence, refuse to believe that evolution happened the way science shows us. So let's see how long it took us to get to where we are now. So here I am on the highway between Novi Sad and Belgrade. We're gonna start now. How this usually goes, this is me, this is my dad, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. All these men, but men don't give birth. It will be easier if we think about this in female lineage. Now I'm not a woman, for now, so we're gonna make an exception for me. So this is me, my mom, my grandma, her mom, and so on and so on. If you really care about the time, about here is World War II. This is where French Revolution is, at about 10 notes. Now we go further. Each of these notes is one life, one mother that gave birth to a daughter. In this endless stream of generations. And what do we have here? Year 0, birth of Christ. Look at how many there are. Generations of people in just 2020 years. From year 0 until today, where I am. People are still Homo sapiens. Each of these notes looks like, each person on these notes looks like the one next to it. They all look like humans. Nothing changed dramatically, and from here until the beginning of our civilization is just a few steps, small stroll. How far do we have to go until the beginning of our species, Homo sapiens? Okay, we'll have to drive a bit. By my calculations, at about 1300 meters from the beginning, before about 200,000 years in real time, is the beginning of our species, Homo sapiens sapiens. Look at all these notes at the roadside. Each of these notes is one life that created another life. With each new birth, there was a slight variation in form and function of the organism. Almost unnoticeable, but it's there. Let's see where our species began. So here we are, at the beginning of our species. This should be Homo erectus here. Let's see. Okay. then this should be Homo sapiens. Ah, I get it. There is no actual beginning of our species. For as long as I can look left and right, everyone looks like this. It's just the more I go back toward Novi Sad, the more they look like humans. But the more I go toward Belgrade, the more they look like animals. You see, there was no moment when mom Homo erectus gave birth to baby Homo sapiens. Each parent and child couple are members of the same species. Imagine it as a smooth color gradient. If I show you this gradient between green and blue, we can all agree that on this end it's blue and on this end it's green. But when exactly blue becomes green? Someone will draw a line across the middle and claim, here. But if I randomly sample colors from the middle and ask people if it's blue or green, I'll get some very diverse answers. In the same way we can move further to the past where green becomes yellow, yellow becomes orange, orange becomes red. And that's how Homo erectus became Homo sapiens, changing gradually. Okay, we're in a serious game now. Our next ancestor is Australopithecus Africanus. It lived 2 million years ago. We don't really know how long it took one generation to give birth to the next one, but we will take an average of about 20 years. And that's how we arrange these nodes. It's about 100,000 nodes from here. That's about 10 kilometers from here. You can imagine 10 kilometers. But imagine 10 kilometers of nodes which are spread 10 centimeters apart. Each of these nodes is one life. Absolutely amazing. Ah, here it is. Australopithecus Africanus. Ah yes, it no longer looks like human. It looks more like a monkey. Try to imagine all these generations we went through, just for this small cosmetic change. How much further do we need to go to dinosaurs? How far until first single-cell organisms? The truth is, I actually don't know, okay? But I know it's not until Belgrade. But much, 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 much further, much further. But with a lot of assumptions and guesstimates, surely by the time of dinosaurs we should pass Belgrade, Niš, make a stop at Predajane, cross the North Macedonia border, continue through Macedonia, pass the Greece border and drive through Greece and end up somewhere in Thessaloniki. To make this easier to illustrate, let's not go backwards anymore. Let's start at the beginning. Imagine a long road of these nodes which goes along our equator. The oldest chemical traces of life on our planet date back from 3.9 billion years ago. First cell appeared. How did it appear? We don't know. We have some ideas, but that's a topic for another video. The cell keeps dividing. Small errors in divisions make it a little different each time. These mistakes allow evolution to do its work. But with a cell this simple, evolution needs a lot of time to do anything important. How long? Well, let's imagine we accelerate now. We go around the Earth once, twice, 3 times. Imagine it, each 10 centimeters is a new generation of these cells. How far until the first meaningful evolutionary change? 211,000 round trips around the Earth. That's when cells got their nucleus. Soon afterwards, after only 88 round trips, first multicellular organisms. Following them, next half round trip, first vertebrates, next half fishes, reptiles on land, and dinosaurs. From dinosaurs to present is just the last 3,000 kilometers of road. And here we are back at the beginning, on a highway reaching present time. For the last kilometer, there is our species, and the last several tens of meters, our civilization exists. But remember, we were only tracing one single line of ancestry. While they were evolving, everyone else was evolving too, changing their own ways, combine their characteristics with others. All these combinations created the possibility for creation of all the complex life we see today. To make this presentation I had to make a lot of assumptions, because we don't really know that much about species long gone. We don't really know how long it took first cells to reproduce and how long it took dinosaurs to reach maturity and leave some offspring. But even if I'm really wrong in my assumptions, numbers are so insanely big that it doesn't even matter. And if it's depressing to think how small you are in this story, try to think about it this way. You're a descendant of a very long line of your ancestors, who were all, to the last one, very attractive and very resourceful. All of them found a partner to leave an offspring with, and all of them was so resourceful that nothing killed them or ate them before doing that. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Thanks for joining me on this voyage. It took me a long time to make this video. Most of the time went on placing all those notes on the highway between Novi Sad and Belgrade. I'm just messing with you, those were special effects, check it out. You don't see them, you see them, you don't see them again. Crazy, right? If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of this, it would mean the most to me if you would share it with some of your friends and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, I salute you.